What's going on, everybody in H-Town, Houston Rockets fans, all over the world, NBA fans, no matter where you are. My name is David Delano. This is Rockets Daily, brought to you by Fan Arch Goal. Here, simple, bring you the best Houston Rockets content that we possibly can. A lot going on in the offseason. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend, regardless of how you decided to celebrate it, whether you celebrated it big, small, or to yourself. Thanks so much for watching, no matter where you are. And we know there's a lot of people overseas as well. We have different holidays, so thank you so much for tuning in. Feel free to chime in on the comments. I'd like to hear from the Houston Rockets fans everywhere, and make sure to like and subscribe. That way you're notified each time a video is dropped. And we're going to be talking about a couple things that have been going on in the comments as the Rockets are looking to upgrade this roster. I don't think that it's finished, as we saw some big moves. We saw this Kevin Durant, Jalen Green deal get finalized, along with some other pieces that maybe didn't expect to be included. Cam Whitmore, somebody we talked about quite a bit, has been moved. And who else is out there for some free agent options? We're also going to touch on Cam Thomas. I know you don't see him over there, but he's someone frequently coming up in the comments who I think would be a tremendous addition to the roster. But is that realistic? Let's go ahead and start with the Cam Whitmore deal. And you can also follow me on X at GetSportsStrong. Cam Whitmore, someone that we talked about, looked like a steal in the first round of the draft a couple years ago. And as we mentioned, I mean, Cam Whitmore is someone who showed some tremendous signs of being a potential offensive, very high-level offensive player in the league eventually, and still may be a very high-level offensive player in the association. Some times this season where he had some big games, at least on the offensive side, when you look at the box score. And then shortly after, there were games where we saw his minutes diminish. Didn't seem to be on the same page with Coach Udoka. Cam's been known for zoning out defensively at times, having a bit of an attitude over his playing time. But I think that for myself personally, and from a lot of you guys in the comments believe, you look at this upside, as young as he is, someone that we'd like to see flourish here in Houston long term, because I think that the talent is definitely there, but not the exact same guy. But you think about Kevin Porter Jr. a few years ago situation, and that was a guy who, drafted in the second round with the Cavs, had showed some flashes with the Cavs, but he's bounced around from several places, and it's not really been just because of the talent. Now, Cam Whitmore, I said, not Kevin Porter Jr., but a situation where the Rockets decided that it'd be best to do what's best for Cam, along with for the team, and it basically says did not expect Cam to be a part of this championship team. We got two second future round picks in the in this deal. So you got the 2026 second round pick from the Chicago Bulls and 2029 pick from the Sacramento Kings. I think that we could have possibly saw Cam's trade value go up, but when you look at this roster, the pieces that have been added, obviously Kevin Durant, Dorian Finney-Smith, just the contract re-signings, minutes with Jabari Smith, Tari Eason. Cam's someone that we talk about Reed Shepherd's development. Cam's someone that the minutes probably weren't going to be there, so we're probably going to see those points drop more and those minutes drop, which means that the frustration would have probably grew. And a young guy like this just does not, Rockets don't want that distraction. And you even look at Raphael Stone, just historically, I mean, the Rockets have been very accommodating towards players who do not want to be here in Houston. If you don't want to be here, the Rockets have done things they haven't really played hardball. They've tried to find the best situation for the player along with the organization. And Cam going to Washington, it should be a situation where he gets to play, he gets to put up points, and we get to see what type of player Cam Whitmore can be. I want to know how you guys feel about this trade. I would have liked to have seen Cam on the roster. I would have liked to see it. I would have liked to see him in Summer League again, and I know it's hard to wait too much on that. And I would have liked to have seen how this roster plays out first half of the season, who's healthy, who's not, and I would have liked to have seen some times for him in there. But even going back to the playoffs, I remember that Game 5 against the Warriors, A lot of guys got in garbage time, but Cam was someone, who wasn't out there getting as many minutes. And there were signs that him and Udoka just weren't on the same page. And going forward with where this roster is, Cam, now he goes somewhere where the opportunity to play is definitely there as a young player to build himself, his resume individually with the Washington Wizards. But I personally wish it could have worked out. But there are a lot of advantages here. Well, there are some advantages. Let me know how you guys feel about this trade. There are some advantages to for the Rockets here, especially when you look at the salary cap and things like that. We can add a veteran here at the minimum, it looks like, and also the Rockets have created some additional breathing room under the luxury tax below that first apron threshold here. And extensions, Kevin Durant potential extension, Jabari Smith recent extension. So this does give a little bit of space underneath that threshold. Now, another thing too, before we get into some of these other players that the Rockets could potentially be looking at, we did have this trade was finalized, the Kevin Durant trade, and I mentioned on Thursday that this was expected to be a 7-team trade with a lot of different pieces involved, and for the most part, the big pieces we knew about. Now, one thing that did jump out at me, and David Marotta, somebody that I talked about on this show that I was interested in seeing possibly in the Summer League on a two-way, who I thought could add some offensive firepower in spots. But he was part of this trade, and he's going back to the Atlanta Hawks. So Roddy, not somebody who's on this team anymore, not on this roster going forward. So I think, with Roddy being moved, with Cam Whitmore being moved, I think the message is definitely clear. We've got our core young players, and they're surrounding them with veterans, defensive guys, and guys who can help this team win a championship next season. Denver Nuggets obviously making a lot of moves. So the trade was finalized, and we saw that there. Now, as we're looking at, a couple pieces moved there, some guys who are possibly out there still in free agency for the Rockets as this Kevin Durant trade was finalized. And one guy that I do want to talk about here is Cam Thomas, because Cam Thomas has been someone that has been mentioned frequently, has been a fan favorite in this comment section as he's looking for a team. Now, I'm not going to go too deep in that because I just don't really see that happening when you look at the minimum, really where we are now at this cap space, and you look at the extension to Jabari Smith and, Tar Eason expected to be next, figuring out what to do as far as if they're going to extend Kevin Durant beyond this year. And when you look at the guys out there, we really need to be looking at someone that can, it's just realistically, right? This isn't a video game where we've got the salary cap turned off. It doesn't look like Cam Thomas is going to be someone that is actually realistically available for a minimum deal. A lot of upside, but very unlikely to be added with what he brings to the table. Even though deal hasn't been worked out for him yet, I think that it's very unlikely unless we move some other fairly big pieces, fairly substantial pieces to get him on the roster. I mean, you probably have to move Fred or something like that, which I just don't see that working out. Now, when we do look at some guys that could potentially end up working out here, Malcolm Brogdon is somebody that I think that the Rockets should be. There's rumors that the Lakers are looking at him, but I really think any team that's looking to add depth in a veteran, that can play both guard positions should definitely be interested in adding Brogdon, who had a down year with Washington. You could get him on the cheap, but this is a guy that is really shown the ability to be a very high three-point shooter, over 40% the last couple seasons. Before this season, where he was below 29%, averaged 12.7 points per game. We saw a lot of those minutes, a lot of his production dropped, but I think a lot of that could have been due to the situation in Washington, 32 years old. This is a guy with a long track record of success. I think he would be a nice addition to this Rockets team. I'm all for adding Malcolm Brogdon. Let me know how you guys feel about it. Now, as far as Brogdon, the way he may feel with this is when you look at his future, NBA future long term for making money and stretching out his career for as long as he possibly can. We see this happen just throughout the history of the NBA. Guys put up big numbers. Then all of a sudden, shortly after, they're out of the league. You feel like they fell off. But you have to, the most important stat to be productive is going to be minutes. You've got to be able to, you've got to play in games. You've got to get minutes on the court. You've got to get opportunities. And if you're not on the court, if you're not playing, you're going to see your points go down. You're going to see your assists go down. You're going to see everything go down if you're not really getting a lot of shots in the flow of the game. Getting in garbage time sometimes where some guys are playing hard, some aren't. There's unwritten rules whether you should shoot the ball or not. It's not going to be good for you on paper. And those are things that people don't look at, those situations, just when they look at your numbers at the end of the season. Oh, man, this guy went from 41% shooting from three to 29% from shooting from three. You know, this guy used to be a 20-point per game scorer. Now he's down to 12.7. Now he's below 10. And I'm saying that as far as if he does come to the Rockets, I definitely think that there's going to be a decline in minutes because obviously, you know, Fred's going to start at point guard. We've got, Thompson growing in that position. Reed Shepherd looking to take that next transition. So I think Brogdon's going to be more. Aaron Holiday's still on his roster. Brogdon's minutes and his role could be a little cloudy, and he may not feel that it's the best situation for him, even if it results in a championship if he's not playing much. So I'm on board for signing Malcolm Brogdon, but I'm wondering for Malcolm Brogdon, seeing him also being with Washington last season, he may be looking for a situation that feels is just better for him to be able to showcase what he can do. But let me know how you guys feel about that. And also, should we consider signing Gary Payton II? Gary Payton II, still out there. Not going to have the offensive upside that Brogdon is going to have. Small guard, but someone who plays a lot bigger as far as he's just tough, man. I mean, tough defensively, a winner, been around Golden State. Someone that I think, even maybe have an opportunity to be in the postseason. Another championship run, face the Warriors in the playoffs. I think that Gary Payton would have a lot of motivation when it comes to a type of player he is. He's never put up the type of offensive numbers that Brogdon has, but he's shown that he can fit in his role, and I think that he would definitely be even a good example for the young guys on this roster. So Brogdon or Gary Payton, who would you rather have on this team? I think that Gary Payton definitely fits in with the defense, definitely fits in with the culture of this team. I'd kind of like to see Brogdon with that offensive upside, but when you look at having Reed Shepherd, it might be nice to have a guy like Gary Payton who's a completely different player there. So let me know, anybody else, or if you still think that there's a way for Cam Thomas, if you've even got some trade scenarios or a way that the Rockets could actually make this work with Cam Thomas, let me know how you feel about, if you got any thoughts about Roddy being traded, how you feel about Cam Whitmore being traded, let me know. NBA Summer League is going to be, NBA Summer League's already tipped off. The Rockets are actually going to be playing pretty soon, starting on July 11th, opening up with the Clippers on a national TV game. My name here, David Delano. Check out, subscribe to this channel. Help us grow. Leave a comment. Thanks so much. Everybody have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you guys tomorrow.